have worked on over the year. And I just wanted to give the chance to all of our business partners to be able to use the knowledge that I've received and Brynka has received over the last year. So the first is just on leadership at every level. The next will be April 13th. We're good as their people. So we'll really dive into your people and are they in the right seat, which will be very interesting to understand. Next is June 8th, which is going to go over core values and the meaning of that core value. The August 8th is what gets measured, gets improved. So we're going to talk about data and how it gets measured and what you do with that data. October 12th is going to be motivating your team. So we're going to have a lot of experts that motivate their team and how they do it. So you don't want to miss October 12th for sure. And then the last one is in December. So after learning all of these different levels of leadership and how to lead in your people and core values, it's how do you set up yourself for 2024. So again, today is leadership at every level. So we're going to understand why leadership is so important at every level, gain an understanding of what leadership truly means, and also look how you can enhance your leadership style. So again, we're going to look at your organization in all of these six-part series. So we're going to look at your people. We're going to identify and track issues for the greater good. We're going to define clear organizational core values, and then tips on leading and motivating your team. So next, we're going to give the platform over to Peggy, and she's going to go over the leadership styles that we are going to work on today. Go ahead, Peggy.
All right. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Jen and Todd in the background, and Mark Fenning from our team. So appreciate everyone that has taken the time to join us today. I recognize quite a few people who have registered. So welcome from the industry world, from the corporations. And I'm very excited to be here. Can everyone hear me okay? All right. Struggling with just a little bit of a cold, so hopefully I can get through this. But I'm excited to be here to talk about leadership. And I was very fortunate to spend most of my career at Washington University in St. Louis. And I think there's a couple people from Washington U on this call, and I appreciate that. But over the years, there's a lot of different types of leadership styles that you see on this slide here. We're going to focus on the ones here on the left. And I think you will find that each of us have parts of these various leadership styles in the way that we lead, the way that we motivate people. And we're going to be talking about that. The first of the slides will be on the democratic leader. So let's go ahead and move on to our first slide, Todd. Very good. So leadership, what is leadership? What are the principles of leadership? You know, leadership builds relationships, but it can tear down also. But of course, our focus on creating and building a positive leadership style is what we want to really look at. How do you share your vision? How do you build relationship? How do you enable others to act? And finding out what your leadership style is. How do you get your team to share in the departmental vision as well as the broad organizational vision? How do we do that as leaders? Leaders need to determine ways, again, that enables others to act. We as leaders need to set the example, set the stage, and model the way, model leadership skills that is effective for your team. How many can relate to that? And I'd really like for this to be interactive. So if you have a comment, if you want to raise your hand, if you want to put something in the chat, please do so. I want to hear from you as we go through these slides. So I'm going to next talk about the democratic leader, that first leadership skill that you saw earlier. So the democratic leader, this is an area that you will find that is a participative style of leading, that you are creative, in collaborating and getting input from others, promoting that creativity. Change for many is difficult. So a democratic leader creates a change environment that is fluid and seamless to the extent possible. And when we talk about ways to remain consistent and fluid, you know, I think about, I felt like I held this skill a lot of the times as I moved through the various roles that I had at Washington University and other organizations for that matter. But you need to be mindful of what you do and how you behave as a leader, because everything you do, people are looking up to you when you're in a leadership role. People learn from you. I learn from others. There is so much that I've learned from so many within the organization, from team members to supervisors, managers, executives, people within NACMs, people within the National Postal Forum, Mailcom, and all those various places that we interact. We gain ways and we build ways that we lead. We try to achieve a wide range of ideas with team input. And being a democratic leader is one that builds trust. And I feel that that is very, very important. Help me feel that trust, being a leader, having trust is important. Anyone would like to raise their hand on that one? All right, thank you for that. I got some feedback on that. I appreciate that. Let's all go on and move on to the next slide. So I'm going to give you some examples of democratic leaders. So President Dwight Eisenhower once said, "Leadership consists of nothing but taking responsibility for everything that goes wrong and giving your subordinates credit for everything that goes well." And I have to own up to what's wrong. I believe there's a typo in this. So, you know, I own up to that. But you know what? We can correct that. And, you know, don't be shy. Don't back down. Things happen. You know, you have to be real. You have to be, you want to be anyway, a likable leader. You want to show and have concern for each other. I will never forget while at Washington University, someone said to me that maybe you care too much. And that has always stuck in my mind. I don't feel that I can ever care too much. I mean, I've always had a passion for leading and helping others develop vision, collaborate, and those kinds of things. So, I mean, it's within what your comfort level is. So, democratic leader is someone that practices optimism. I feel that I'm trying to be as optimistic as I possibly can while controlling, you know, your ego, right? You have to know what your purpose is. Again, taking responsibility. Don't be afraid to apologize. Own up to your mistakes. All right. And Gandhi exemplified many democratic traits in bringing together a broad range of people, working with them, not above them. So think about that. Does anyone feel that they are a democratic leader? Let's see a show of hands for democratic leaders. And again, I'll have to say that we all will present a number of different traits. Do we see a show of hands, Jen?
Yeah, looks like we have about 5 or 6 Democratic leaders on with us today.
That's great. That's great. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next one, is a transformational leadership. What is that? That's hard for me to say sometimes. Transformational leadership. All right. Well, you know, transformational leaders are typically known as visionaries, innovators. You must have the ability to delegate, can't micromanage. Sometimes I like to get into the weeds, and if Dale and Lori are out there, I don't know what they would think about that, what my leadership style was, but I also felt that everyone, you have to give them the room to lead. You have to give them the room to share their voice and be able to delegate and let them run with a task that you have given them. Excuse me for just a moment. And transformational leaders have an eye for the big picture, right? Charismatic, ones that can motivate others to lead, enable others, just like we saw in the Democratic leader. Transformational leaders like to challenge the process. I sometimes would challenge the process. Well, why do we do it this way? Why do we have to continue to do it the same way? We don't. Don't be afraid of change. Inspire others, allow others to share their vision, and the transformational leaderships will come alive. Encourage from the heart. Next slide, please. So transformational leaders and what their traits are. Lee Iacocca, I chose as an example of a transformational leader. And you wonder why. So as chairman of Chrysler, did you know that Iacocca was fired from Ford? Excuse me. How many people knew that? And did you know that he was the father of Ford Mustang? How many have ever had a Ford Mustang out there? He wrote a book, Where Have All the Leaders Gone? He was famous for 10 C's to transform Chrysler. And I wonder if that was a coincidence. Chrysler, and he led with 10 C's. Jen, can you help me out and describe those 10 C's for me, please?
Absolutely. So we have curiosity, communication, courage, charisma, common sense, creativity, character, conviction, competence, and crisis.
Thank you, Jen. So think about that. Am I muted? I think I'm on now.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay, thank you. So think about those. Do you utilize those skills? Steve Jobs is another transformational leader. He was constantly changing everyone to think beyond their accomplishments. They pushed for more. He wanted more. He was an innovator. How many idolize or respect Oprah Winfrey? I, for one, not just because she's the queen of all media, but she cared, she was charismatic, and she transformed people. So how many feel that they have transformational leadership traits? I have to say, our leader in Brynka, I think I saw that she raised her hand, and she is very much that style, and I appreciate that. She challenges us, and I had directors and managers at Washington University that did the same. All right, so coaching. Coaching is most often, you think of a coaching leader, someone that could lead a classroom, someone who also works in a work environment or a team. And I felt like I'd liked to coach. I'd like to coach our teams. And that's a good style, especially in the mailing operations. Work often in mailing operations with entry-level people, but I so enjoyed having the opportunity to advance people, to develop their skills, and for them to it takes a significant amount of time to coach, but it is well worth it. How many people feel that it's well worth it to use coaching leadership traits in advancing their employees? That's right. I mean, I found a lot of pleasure in that. Took so much gratification, had so much gratification from being able to coach others. Excuse me. So again, coaching is a long-term, it's professional development, not only in my own professional development over the years, long-term, but in allowing other people to grow professionally, being able to help people reach their goals. You can't help lead people if you do not know what their goals are. Know what options there are. You have to be realistic, but help, again, identify goals. You know, every one of us will have strengths and weaknesses, and it's okay to, I think we want to back up or go one step forward. Would you please, Todd? Thank you. Again, the long-term development and being able to have the ability to lead others to reach their goals, and having that will-do attitude and encourage. I like to be encouraged, and I like to encourage. So once again, we come to the end of this leadership style, and that is coaching. So I'm going to ask, do you feel that you have coaching leadership styles? Very good. I see a number of them. You know, a goal for a leader is to guide members to look beyond themselves, to learn to work together, right? You've got to be able to learn to work together. And peer coaching, employees observe what their peers do. So people are always looking at what you are doing as a leader. So promote confidence, be confident, have others be confident in what they do. And leaders can demonstrate behavior for employees to adopt. All right, I think we're ready to go on to our next slide.
Hi.
Very good. So we have one last one. Let's hope that my voice will allow me to take.
Peggy, you want me to help out?
Will you please, Brenda? I appreciate that. That's what teamwork is all about. Thank you. Thank you.
So Pacesetter Leader. This one is always looking at very fast results, sets really high standards and focuses on performance, holds staff accountable. These are leaders that expect excellence, self-direction, quick results, and high competency level. Risk with the Pacesetter Leader, if you overdo it, that style can really undercut and lead to sense of failure. So you can definitely risk a burnout with this Pacesetter Leader. Example is Jack Welch, the youngest CEO from General Electric. So, and you can see that sometimes in younger leaders, especially now with technology and a lot of fast track, you have a lot more of these Pacesetter leaders. So they really want to achieve big results quickly, but a personal touch with employees. So let's go on to the, so these are the advantages of pace setting leadership. Business goals are quickly achieved. Full utilization of a competent team. Issues are swiftly addressed. So who feels they're in this pace setting leadership? Raise your hand. Not many. Okay, so let's go on.
We have a couple. We have a couple Pacesetters.
There's a few. So let's go on to our last one that we're going to talk about. And this is the servant leader. So this is a leader with people first mindset. believes in people producing their best work with a sense of professional and personally satisfaction, meaning that you want to make sure that everyone on your team that you're leading is has that sense of capability, satisfaction. They tend to achieve higher levels of respect because, again, you are, as a servant, you are providing them with whatever they need. It's more than one-on-one meetings. Getting feedback about struggles, concerns, issues helps team players play to their own strengths. Scaling Up, Bernie Harnesh's book, Scaling Up. That's an excellent book for anyone that wants to be a servant leader, describes this leader. So the best managers are less concerned about motivating their people and more concerned about not demoting them. They consider it their job to prevent the hassle that blocks their team's performance. On the process side, do your people have the appropriate tools and resources they need to get the job accomplished? And their lane policies and procedures frustrating your team, meaning with the servant leader, that manager will make sure that, again, you are serving your team, you're doing whatever they need. And so who in this, so we're going to do a poll, right? Is that coming up next?
Yeah, I can launch
Yeah.
the poll now.
Let's take a poll. So let's see from everyone here, which type of leader are you? So let's see, anyone can vote.
Have more than one that speaks to your leadership style. Feel free to pick the one that you think is most you.
I see the poll. I cannot click on it. Is that because I can't take the poll?
Yeah, these are the attendees are
Panelists
filling.
cannot vote.
Not allowed.
Go ahead and share the results. So can everyone see our results here? We have about 47% Democratic leaders on the call with us today. 13%.
I don't think they can see it, Jen.
I think so.
Oh, they can. Okay. Don't
Yeah.
mind me.
These are the results. We have about 47% Democratic leaders on the call today, 13% transformational, 13% coaching, 20% pace setter, and 7% servant.
So very interesting. So I first wanted to go over, for me, I was actually a leader when I was only 17 years old. I worked for a company called Bradley's. I was a supervisor, and I remember it was a retail chain, and I remember yelling at a clerk, and I turned around and there was my dad. And here I'm expecting my dad to say, wow, you supervise all these people and kind of give me praise. But on the other hand, he stated, if somebody treated you that way, would you be, how would you feel? And I'll never forget that. I mean, it was a long time ago, but I will never forget that, because that I tried throughout my life of making sure that I didn't have that happen. But I think as many of you do, we have different leadership styles. So you can see just in the poll, there's different varying leadership styles. So one of the things that I did last year was I decided to engage with a consultant, and they promoted the EOS system, which is the Entrepreneur Operating System. So the reason that I wanted to do that was that I really wanted my company, this industry I've been in for 30 years. I love it. I tend to do it throughout my retirement, but I realized that I really do want to have my leadership team, the team that I've worked with for so many years, to really take the lead where I could step back and just do what I want to do. And that is just work with our business partners, both past, present, and future, and really devote my life to that rather than day in and day out workings of the business. After we've gone through this for a whole year, I realized this is really good information that I would like to share through the Brynka Beacon in 6 parts. And we're going to go over those 6 parts later on at the very end. But I wanted to make sure this is free for anyone that signs in. And it's something that I think everyone, not just that owns a business, but everyone that leads at any level will be able to use this information. And I look forward to sharing it with you. So make sure that you sign up for all of the classes. And then, Peggy, do you have a voice yet, or I could keep on going?
I'm gonna try to chime in here a little bit, because this gave me a chance to sit back and think and to listen and to be able to see the participants, the attendees on our call. And I don't want to call anyone out, but I would like to know if anyone here would like to share their leadership style, what works for them, or what they found in this that they resemble. I know April. I know April's on the call. I know Dale's on the call. We've got Kathy, Maury, and Catherine. Is there anyone out here, Tracy, anyone out here who would like to share at this time? We would very much like to have it interactive.
So if so, you can raise your hand and I'll be able to allow you to unmute. Here we go.
Catherine, oh good, great, April. So Catherine, I think, raised her hand. Who's, I guess, do we have Catherine?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
I very much like the democratic leadership style, and I always like to get input from my team when making decisions. You know, they're the ones that are in the trenches and doing things, and I always try to get their feedback when making decisions and making things better. And I also like what you're saying about being a trustworthy leader. Like, that's huge. If you can't trust your superiors, then you know you have no respect for them or the work that you're doing, and morale goes down. So I try to do that, and sometimes I give them their voice, but it may not be the best answer, and that may not be what we're going to go with. So it's just a matter of coaching them into seeing your side of the thing, of the matter, and going that route. So yeah.
And can you tell we know where you're from, Catherine, but can you tell everybody where you're from?
SUNY Oneonta in upstate New York. And it was 50 degrees today. It was wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And we also have April here. April, are you able to unmute and let everybody know where you're from? We also know where you're from.
I think I did unmute. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi, April.
Okay. So I'm from Colorado Springs, Colorado at Colorado College. And we just had a snowstorm and it was 15 degrees today. So, but that's okay. So I think I'm very much a situational leader. I think my strongest traits are democratic, because I do really like to get input from my team to see what they think is the best way to handle decisions, changes to processes. There are definitely times when I have embraced any number of these other leadership skills, some more successfully than others. But I do find, it's always a struggle. Like Brenda shared the story about yelling at somebody that she supervised. And I definitely think I've done that in the past at some point. And it's something that definitely sticks with you and you remember it, and hopefully you never do it again. But it's always a struggle. You're always learning every day, I think, as a leader, to be a better leader.
Good. Thank you for sharing. I was just wondering, does anybody have any books on leadership that they've read and just loved? If you want to throw those in the chat and we can read them out to everyone, or everyone can take a look in the chat. I know a couple of us here at Brynka are big readers, and always looking for new reading material on great business topics like leadership. I knew Brenda
Very
was going to
good.
put that. Traction is one of Brenda's
Yeah.
favorites. Excellent book. I also highly recommend.
Looks like chat's disabled.
Chat disabled. I think Lori's on the phone. I know you like to read a lot. Are there any good leadership books that you would recommend, or Dale? Not to call you out, but who likes John Gordon? I see a hand raised. Very good. Is there anyone else? That was an excellent recommendation, Jen, being able to share that. Is everyone able to see what's in the chat, what those books are being recommended?
So far, we have one in the chat.
Okay. And that is?
Check the settings, but they're saying that they can't chat.
Well, while they are looking and people could be adding, is there anyone else who would like to come forward and share? We'll give it one last chance. I see a lot of folks out there, but that's okay. We can move on to the next slide, but that was very helpful, very informative, being able to hear. Thank you, April and Catherine, for chiming in. So again, what makes a person want to follow a leader? You know, every person is different, aren't they? And every person, I know at one point in time, there were at least, let me see, probably 30 plus people on our team, not my team, but our team. And we had a lot of leaders, and specifically created positions as leads. And leads then became supervisors. Supervisors became managers. Managers became, and moved on up the line. And that was a stepping stone. And it takes vision to be able to build your team in the long run. And people generally, and hopefully genuinely, want to be guided by those that they respect and who have a clear sense of direction. And a sense of direction is achieved by conveying a strong vision for the future. What is your leadership vision? Does anybody want to share what their leadership vision is by sharing in the chat or verbally? I'll give people a chance to think about that, but vision is important. I mean, if you're in a position, if you've been in it for a year or 10 years, you probably have thought about what is it that I want to do? What can I do differently? What can I add to the role that I'm in right now? How can I grow as an individual in the position that I am in? So I don't know if we had anybody with that wanted to respond, but it looks like we'll move on to the next slide. This is one of my favorite quotes. Great leaders are never satisfied with current levels of performance. They are relentlessly driven by possibilities and potential achievements. Donna Harrison. Again, I've in whatever role that I played, or the people that were on our team throughout the years, the experience that I had at Washington University in St. Louis, at Visiting Nurse Association, at St. Louis University for a short time. I wanted to find ways that I could grow as an individual and I wanted to become a leader. And, each of you are in leadership roles, and you have a choice as to the direction that you go. Work with your manager, work with your people, and help them grow and help them lead. And so finally, we take a look at, there's leadership traits and there's leadership styles. Okay. So characteristics like self-confidence, ambition, high energy, communication skills, ability to motivate others, multitasking. I get into trouble by multitasking. Sometimes I can multitask better than others. But these characteristics, these traits, builds a leadership style that we've discussed, that you have seen, that paves the way for a leadership style. A style like that we've discussed are the ways that leaders use their respective traits, like ambition and energy and communication and leadership, to share their leadership, and to be the best that they can be, through learning from their mentors, from their peers. You can practice different kinds of leadership styles, and you need to practice styles that are conducive to your own traits, to develop your own leadership approach with a number of these traits. Learn techniques from the great books such as, if we move on to the next slide, these are some of the ones that I've identified, and some of the things that I have chosen in this presentation from these great leaders here who have written books on 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey. How Will You Measure Up to Life, Clayton Christensen. The Make of a Manager, Julie Zoe. And I said The Power of Positive Leadership, John Gordon. Scaling Up, we mentioned, and we referenced that. And again,
we do have one question here from
Sure.
Barb Thompson. They actually had 8 inches of snow where they are today. Sorry to hear that, Barb. So they're having some staffing challenges. So a couple of their supervisors were unable to attend. She wants to know if this recording will be available to all of the attendees after the fact. So just to answer that, yes, it will, Barb. This session is being recorded and you'll be able to find it on Brynka.com on our website. We also can email that out to everyone in a link as well. Thanks for asking.
Thank you, Barb. Where are you located?
That is enabled now. I know some people
Okay.
were having an issue
Okay.
before, but
All right, very good.
go
Well,
ahead.
yesterday, I think it was almost 60, 65 degrees here, where I'm at, near the St. Louis border, St. Louis, Missouri. I'm close by.
Yeah,
St.
Barb's
Louis,
in
again,
Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay, very good. Thank you for sharing that. And yes, we're happy to share this and the other sessions that we are going to be presenting, as Brenda will be touching upon in just a few minutes again. Again, leadership can be rewarding to you and to others. All right. No individual achievement can equal the pleasure of leading a group of people to achieve a worthy goal. When you cross the finish line together, there's a deep satisfaction that it was your leadership that made the difference. There's simply nothing that can compare with that. And I take faith in that quite a lot, and wanted to share that. So again, modeling the way for others, the basis of good leadership includes leaders with various ways to lead: through intelligence, through honesty, through creativity, through confidence, being driven, and finally, courageous. I have to say, in the years that I was at Washington University, the consolidation efforts throughout the years and the number of times that I heard the word, no, that'll never happen. Had I believed that or just thrown in the towel, I don't think, we would have been able to advance with the technology, with the great people that were there. And again, it takes a lot of different traits and leadership roles to be successful. And I'd like to go ahead and have Brenda wrap it up and again, encourage anyone to ask any questions that they have. But thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks, Peggy. You made it through. I was uncertain of that voice. You made it all through. And we are so happy at Brynka to have Peggy with us. She really, she gives a lot of just very encouraging talks. She will be at National Postal Forum as well as MailCom. So we're very excited to have her with us and giving these leadership seminars. They're very, very helpful. And she will definitely be involved in a lot more of these 6 webinar series. Again, today was leadership at every level. You have to have a leader, obviously, to start the process. But the next thing we're going to go over is we're only as good as our people. So this one is going to talk about the people that we lead. And you'll find it very interesting on just how an organization needs to look at the people that they lead and how they do the work and what is the best work for them. So there's a lot of information that will be given under the people seminar. Core values. So once you have your people, you need to give them the core values that they can go in with. So your core values for every level of your people, they need to understand that. You need to hire by that. You need to make sure that they're always looking at your core values within your organization. The next one, what gets measured gets improved. I am just a huge believer on having data and understanding that data and having metrics for that data. So one of the things that you will see within the Brynka organization, we have what's known as scorecards. And these scorecards are at every department level. And every leader goes over those scorecards with their people every single week and how we can improve them, what needs to be done to, maybe we need to change them, but we always have a scorecard and measurements that we are always working on. Motivating your team. I really hope all the here and just anyone that you know, this is going to be I really want it to be interactive. We're going to invite a lot of participants in and we're going to really motivate each other and show how you can motivate your team. And then the very last, again, is setting yourself up for success in 2024. So we're going to look at everything we worked on for the whole year and how you can make your organization even better for 2024. So is there any comments, conversation, anything that you would like to, are looking forward to within the next 6 part series? Okay. Well, hopefully you'll all attend.
I just wanted to mention, Brenda, so everybody's aware, just because you signed up for today's webinar does not mean you're automatically signed up for each of the 6-part series. So make sure you register at brynka.com/events for each one of the 6-part series that you want to be involved in.
Todd, were you going to put that in the chat as well? Are we going to email to everybody that's here?
I can throw it in the chat.
Yeah. So the very last slide is one of my favorite and I signed up for Leadership First on LinkedIn. They always have different information, great reminders for us all. But this one, great leaders believe they work for their team. And again, this is more of the servant level, which I'm really working at within my organization, because I really want to give everyone on my team to be able to do what I've done for 30 years, and then I can step back and do other things within the business. So great leaders believe they work for their team. Average leaders believe their team works for them. So your team should really be able to do what you want them or need them to do. And they love what they do. They like what they do. They get what they do. And it will be a great team to get to the next level or any goal that you want to achieve. So let's go to the last slide. So thank you for attending. We really appreciate, and if you have any questions, you can always email us at info@Brynka. Go to our website. All of the information regarding the Brynka events are in the events. You'll be able to sign up for any or all of them. And we look forward to seeing you in April.
In
13th.
April 13th. Yeah.
April 13th.
Yeah. That's a Thursday, not a Friday, right?
That's a Thursday.
That's a Thursday. Yeah.
So it's pretty much every second Thursday within the month. So we try to keep it consistent and at 3 o'clock so that even the West Coast is able to be able to come into this wonderful 6-part series. So thank you again so much.
Thank you for your comments as well. Take care, everyone. Be safe out there. Take care.
Thanks. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.